wifey, please take the shotgun away if you have one, or the barrel gun, or the poison, or the staff behind your back. Okay, is that okay? Can you stick with that? You seem rather angry. Ich mach den blöden Koller aus, der gerade angegangen ist. So. Wifey. Yeah, you rather look confused. So I got a question of you, from you, from me, for you, to you, from me, to you. In the no. It's not a Beatles song. I'm feeling fine, it's the name. Not from me to you. Suggested, but it's not the same song. By the way, a good title, I believe so too. So, wifey, what is the man of sin? And you, when I sleep with you, yes, correct. What is the woman of Babylon? You said me, when you sleep with me. I love you. Now that's why I name myself to the cross. You hang next to me on my arms, and then we just are so eternally in love, and everything else would kill us. Then the cross would be unnecessary because we could just die the other way. Or just die, or spiritually die, or anything of the sort of cursing, or cursing the spell, the cursing the cruel on ourselves in magnitude of virtue by price. So sex is basically a sin that is not usually punished, even in marriage. I want to first elaborate that, because sex is power, either the woman's power on the man, or the man's power on the woman. It causes something into the spirit, an emotion, and that leaves balance, but also something that needs to be dealt with later. That's why everyone needs to compensate for the sin of the other in the relationship, but the man should do it, and not by some sexual act. An imaginary spiritual cross is enough, or you just die one time and do it. But now to the point. What is the man of sin? You're rather frustrated or shocked. It's correct. Please say it. He is blind. Yes. The man of sin is blinded by his own sin to the light of anything that is divine in him, out of him, outside of him, out of his realm, or even God, goddess, gods, or whatever. Even the truth, even wisdom, even knowledge itself. So, you're rather frustrated and shocked and don't know what to say because everything can be held against you. That's why we are outlaw. Yes. Great. Yeah. Now, back to the point. We're still doing therapy here. I love it. Therapy helps the therapist as well as the therapist. Anyway. So basically, the man of sin is a little bit worse than that. What it means to be blinded by one's own sin, that you can't see God anymore, but not really see God, that's not what it means, it's a metaphor, meaning you cannot view any truth or any wisdom about yourself or anyone else at a certain point of time anymore by degree, or no degree, or any degree, or any no degree, or anything. Thus, therefore, you don't know. And the one who took from the tree of knowledge and doesn't know, it's not that. So, here comes the third and the new, or better said, the new and the fourth Offenbarung. It must be a revelation. The man of sin is stuck in hell. For once because of his sin, for twice because of his commitment to sin, and for thrice for the sake of his own ignorance, arrogance, and sin again. Lucifer, O morning star, how have you fallen from grace and heaven? I made you in my image, yet you're despicable now. It doesn't go towards Lucifer. Lucifer is the light bringer, not the morning star, that's his wife. He's the evening star that is unlike his wife. He's Adam, but not Eve. And Eve is his wife. But so is Adam, hers, and Lilith, his. In my mythology, in my mind. I'm singing. I believe in my spirit. Good. So, that's not true. I mean, I'm different, but only in blueprint the same. 100%. So, what does it mean to be the man of sin? No one can help you. Whatever you will try to do, whatever you can do, whatever you should do, you need to leave the person solely up to his own good, to his own ideas, to his own possibilities, actions, and persuasions. Meaning everything the man of sin pursues towards his own goal by not committing sin unless to himself needs to be permissible. Meaning if he wastes 2,000 euros of his own money on a bag of Gucci, you cannot stop him or her. It's a man of sin or her man of sin or her man of her sin. It's not so difficult, or it's sin of his men. So by that is, the man of sin can be multiple people, but every man of sin is different. It always comes down to a different core belief system that holds you trapped. Why does this occur? Difficult. Some people must be ignorant to sin, even on the total increased level or incense level, because they sin so heavily that they cannot cope with their own actions or one's own actions anymore. The second reason is because they simply want to be in the state to fuck somebody up, or to win the war against something or someone. That's why the man of sin is so problematic. People always have pity on him, or her, or it, or it, or her, or him, or him, or her. But you really cannot get of it. If the man of sin occurs, he must go through all the pain, all the struggle, everything, without any knowledge about you, any interaction with you if you're a higher moral person than that person, at least to a slightly more degree than just average. But average, not an average morality, an average to the degree above it. Yeah. But then, also, no one else is the man of sin. You cannot brandmark someone as the man of sin. What? Yeah. That's the point of this whole idea. The man of sin will sin against himself, and sin against yourself is usually permissible. And the angels will do the work. They will have some mechanisms in place, some ideas, and some knowledge, and that will keep you safe. It's the third revelation, what I try to do here. It's a little bit funny, at least to me. No, no, that was you, my wife. Yeah. No, it's not at all funny, you're right. It's sad. Man of sin cannot cope with his, her, its own actions at all, whatsoever. It's the hellfire, locked in chains for thousands, millennia, eternity maybe, separation from everything that is divine, therefore God, in or excluded from him. Meaning, the man of sin is without love, even for himself. Even if love is just something you should feel for one special person in your life, that should be the same person for me as in always, otherwise I die. Take my life, which is not the case. Okay? I love myself, and I'm still happy. Just in the sense of I love, respect myself in a loving way without love for my own. Okay. I'm with you. I love you. Yeah. For the man of sin, He will not care for you, because the only intention he has is to cause sin upon you. By himself. He wants to fuck you up, kill you, fuck you up literally, or anything of the sort. Meaning guide you into directions that make you sin, be a sin, or is a sin, or sin. That's their only goal. Not the one of God, Adam and Eve, or any one of them. Meaning goddess or God, which are Adam and Eve, just in a different avatar. So, the whole point of this is really that you can't get that person out of that state of mind. You could travel infinite times back and forth before the resurrection of hell, the man of sin would still go there. It's set in stone. He decided that himself. He wants to be the man of sin. That's the whole point. It's a free choice. He wants to be the man of sin at every cost. It will win anything or teach him. It's either way, it's the same idea, or idealize him. It's also a possibility. So materialism is not in there. It's just a fake idea. Point being, once the man of sin is born, other men of sin will be born. It can never be one singular person, but it also is most likely never a couple unless they really sin heavily in a different way. Point being, Adam and Eve and all the others are out of the equation, the angels, etc. Now we come to the third revelation, which is the fourth revelation. There's no new revelation after this. Once the man of sin is walking the earth, all justice is done. The person will walk the earth, will experience the pain brought on to him by his own sin, ignorance, and blissful blindness, and thus be disregarded by everything, and must be disregarded by everything. Now, the fourth revelation consists of something else. Not even Jesus Christ can save that person. Even if you would die for that person, you would just have given him more advantage to be furthermore the man of sin, and would spiral him more down into the process of being the man of sin. It's a downward spiral to infinity. Well, there's hell. Oh boy, no. Like me a little bit. I like it hot, like you. Not right now, I know. But the point being is a different one. Not God, not Jesus, nor anyone else can save him. Everything you do will make it worse, most likely, in most every of the case, because you're not unfree from sin, or free from sin. I said you're not yourself a man of sin that is almost not a man of sin, most likely. And then you couldn't control yourself as long as you're the man of sin and would be a new man of sin. So that's rather difficult. But you need to leave him to his options. Meaning, if that person takes 10,000 euros to take a train ticket to almost kill someone and ends up in a bush because he just was defeated by God or the past or future or time or anything of it again, you need to let that happen. And the biggest problem of all, once you decided with someone else to watch that scenario, you will get fucked up by the sin of the man of sin that he conjures into society, which is societal sin, which is how a sociopath sins, like me. Meaning, a sociopath sins in society, usually if he's free of sin. That means he sins differently. And the personal sin is something that he usually tries to avoid because he has a higher sense of justice if he is not a psychopath. That is the whole idea, because sociopaths try to conquer it. Psychopaths try to live it. The evil incarnate. Thus, the man of sin will try to do everything in his advantage as soon as you see him or he sees you to fuck you up. And that's problematic because it's so tempting to try to help him. It's so pitiful. Once you see that, it's very pitiful. It's not like he's talking to the street or on the street to himself or to the walls or schizophrenic stuff. It's rather he runs against the wall 4 times, punches his head, says, "You're really not going to help me?" Punches his head again, tries to kill someone, dies, and is reborn again. It's not a theater play. It's rather sad. So, now the point being, men and women are the same in this sense, but yes, that's the whore of Babylon. She basically fucks around as a bitch, and everyone you will be to her is a bitch. She will just use you for every part of goal of being the woman of Babylon. Like the man of sin used her and she used him. And it's an eternal derivational concept that just continues. Why can't you not like? So, point being now, once the man of sin is free, you need to leave him alone. You need to let that person go and not try to intervene with him anymore till he's free of sin or becomes the man of sin again. Then the whole process starts again. It looks like a game, but it really is rather not. So the fourth revelation is, as from here on, every revelation towards morality, the man of sin, or the Bible is the same. He exists. Deal with it. Or get the fuck with it. Away. So, the last but not least is that at some certain point it's said, and you will always become the man of sin. It has no way out of it. So if you want to be a murderer or a rapist, interact with them. Otherwise, please don't. It's the rather frustrating truth. But then they always find you. They always will find you, and then they will die in front of your eyes, and you will just need to let that happen before that happens. At least to biblical knowledge, I believe. That's pretty much how the Bible interprets it. Furthermore, Jesus cannot save anyone from the man of sin either. If you try to fuck him up, you're acting immoral. You're acting on non-moral. You try to be a murderer now. You try to experience murder, which is still an evil incarnate being, but nonetheless less worth in value, most likely not. It's still idiocy and sin. A cause sin now even, because now you're trying to do that to an innocent person. He's fairly not innocent, but he has no choice. You're not trying to fuck up a determined man of sin, which is every man of sin. A determined man of sin is almost free again. And then you maybe try to fuck up the process of him being a normal person again by interacting after that with him or her, which causes tremendous trouble to every idea of morality, because my wife, no, you're not a woman of Babylon, I'm not a man of sin, but that every man of sin will believe. So the only question is, how do you know it? That you can't tell them. Yeah, rather frustrating. So, to come to the last part, the great beast, that's you if you try to intervene with him. If you try to become the great beast, the great conqueror of evil or good or the world, by manipulating the man of sin to your degree of achieving something, you're basically not better but worse. And the reason being is, you try to use the most sinful person for your own sin. Get it? That tries the triple sin. I mean, tries the fox apple or whatever. Meaning the beast is worse than the man of sin, but has still freedom, but will most likely be needed to be judged by God, because that is the thing that will fall in the end. The man of sin could survive, the beast cannot. That's the Bible very clear on it. He just is chained to hell for a long time, or maybe eternity. Meaning, at this point, after the whole judgment day thing, God is without choice and just leaves. He just leaves. And it's perfect that way. God did his duty, he can now live in peace with his wife, and his wife with him, and their kids with them. Meaning, the man of sin now, and the whore of Babylon, the foot soldiers, which is the next part. The foot soldiers always have one guiding light, which is the man of sin. Because he lost against God and most likely cannot cope with it. He's the new man of sin and causes trouble to everyone in his following, being they're all gonna be men of sin. Then everything happens to justice, they get morphed around a little bit, and voila, some men of sin, some incarnate evil who survived, etc. pp. How is this provable with the Bible? It's Solomon's temple. Solomon built a temple with ultimate power. Ignorance to the true nature of God. He only worships one God now. One pantheon, one being. Without the pantheon, meaning without his wife. Solomon rejects the truth so much in every way of his actions. He tries to get concubines, he tries to get money, he tries to get demons to work for him, etc. pp. All the good stuff in ancient times is related to these beings working together to equalize that in everything. Solomon is the direct opposite, but doesn't fall because of this. And why is he the perfect example of the first man of sin? Solomon tries to get the power not to do justice anymore, but for personal vengeance, goals and achievements and wives. And in the end he falls because he doesn't listen to God anymore. The question is, who is this God? Is that really Abrahamic God, or is it rather the God he personally wants to listen to? And that would be provable by a certain amount of degree, which is something in the Bible that is very clear. Jesus says, "You will not be in paradise with me, you murderer. You thief, you can come with me. Thievery is not good, it's the energy of other people, etc. pp. Inri. But you are forgiven, you were taken away from me, by me, and that's why you're now forgiven. You can come to heaven with me because it's not too core of a sin. I absolved you by my doings." Now, the murderer is not supposed to be in heaven, but after Jesus dies, he suddenly also is supposed to enter paradise. But Jesus was in hell and went out of it, right? So, what if that's already hell that people are now in? And that would be provable by one more simple story, which is a rather frustrating one. The people try to cut off the foreskins of the enemies, and the foreskin is what protects your genitals as a male. Yes, you're very rather frustrated if someone would cut off my foreskin. I know. That's the whole point, but this is already the point. I will not let you be in the state. Never mind, I won't. See, won't. Maybe. See, you cannot get the man of sin out of it, and we just need to continue this video. Please wait, let's do it. So, we now come to the big problem. Why is the foreskin story so crucial? Well, it's about also that he cuts off the foreskins of the children. God promises something else when the flood occurs. I will also always spare the children till they're old enough. That's clearly mentioned in the Bible. In subtext, maybe sometimes, in true translation, sometimes else. It's always mentioned. And if you view this from Salomon's perspective, Solomon acts the same way, even though it's prohibited by God and proven in the war that was wrong because all these people are destroyed later. For that is, Samson is okay with wrestling with God, but that must really be Samson himself. He's not the strongest man, God just doesn't care. Then Moses comes to the bush and speaks to the bush, gets the 10 Commandments, but the people are already worshipping the golden calf. Belial is dead, but that's the problem, they are still worshipping the golden calf and expecting an answer. Now Moses goes to God and says, well, I have a problem, they're worshipping the calf. And when he's back, the people said they got an answer from God, but God only spoke to Moses. Now Solomon uses the same explanation. He says he spoke to God. In the meantime, a priest in another city speaks to God in every other city and tells Solomon, you're crazy. Then he suddenly has an army of demons, vengeful demons, to build a temple, and even uses kids as means to an end to be rather executed, or more so uneducated, because only the good kids will learn and not the true whatever kids to his degree of knowledge, meaning the foreskin is cut off the genitals or something. Why is that a similar story? It's a similar story because of one simple reason. The foreskin is something like protecting the knowledge of the and for that it's the same as lesser educated people and making an elite out of God's knowledge. If you make an elite out of God's knowledge, you act like the wrong God in Adam and Eve's garden. By the way, all the animals fall with Adam and Eve and are simply just gone, just like the garden. No one ever realized that after the fall of Eve, the garden is just simply vanished. Then we come to the possible last part. Jesus gives one revelation usually. He says there will be no more revelation than one. I will give you one revelation. I am the way. It's sad. I realized that too. I thought there could be different ways, but you first need to accept the premise I am. For me, for everyone else, etc. Then you can be like the flying birds, conquering yourself, etc. and just vanishing into nowhere, meaning getting turned upside down, but up is not down, like in Pirates of the Caribbean, and you're rather dead spiritually, or maybe even bodily, or something like it. But then I already can give you the second revelation, because I will cause you into being the man of sin. Jesus makes that pretty clear in the promise and the prophecy of Joshua. He says he will be baptized by his own hand, but the Jesus on the cross is baptized by someone else. For that is, the Jesus on the cross is already not the true Jesus, unless Jesus was nailed on the cross, but somewhere else, etc. pp. And that won't make sense if now the second revelation of Offenbarung, whatever, is from Paul, Johannes, or some of the setters. We're not setters. Meaning he's rather crazy, because he also says he just seen visions of God. Visions of God can be God, but are most likely not God if he interacted before with people directly. So he's maybe a man of sin on a good way to the destiny or the goal or the destination or goalation or Golgotha. So why is Golgotha now important? Well, Judas betrays Christ in a so heavy way that Christ needs to die and be punished by something it's unspeakable of. They torture him literally in the Bible. So now we have a problem. The man of sin now says, okay, I betrayed you, I will be forgiven as soon as you rise up. And Judas is supposedly forgiven by Christ. Now, this is something Christ doesn't need to do. Even if Christ looks past the fact that Judas is forgiven. Christ is God. He doesn't need to say, I forgive you. It's simple. He doesn't need to say that. He's a perfect being. If he makes a choice, he doesn't need to say it's forgiveness. He can forgive, but not this choice. That's something he needs to see past. He just needs to oversee it and says, yeah, okay, yeah. Can go further away, but I don't forgive you. I just look past it. It's very simple. But Judas has the illusion of being forgiven, also later in the Revelation, by a vision. As I said, you should see a concept by now. And then we come to the last story that now makes sense. It's the foundation of the church. The lovely Paul Wizard, or whatever that person is, I don't remember the name quite rightly right now. And this is our headphones, sorry that I clapped them so many times. I just like the sound of the clapping, sometimes not really, but it's rather frustrating. So that person founds the church on what exactly? A vision from God. Again, God said, I am the way. You should spread my word in no way that deceives the word or makes any hierarchy among you. You're all my children. You're all the chosen ones by your own knowledge. You will fly like the birds to heaven or the fish to sea, and you will know destiny, basically, and therefore will know yourself. Just like I have known myself when I have come to realization that I am alive or whatever, maybe dead, it's really not of matter at all. Meaning, Paul is from Paulos to Saulos, eh? He rather sees the truth in Christianity not by direct proof of God, by his own interpretation of God, just like we are doing right now. We could be the people of sin as well, just to There just needs to be two of them. And that person is then saying the vision came directly from God because he has walked the earth and has vanished, and that gave him the vision. 40 or 20 years later after that happened. But the more important part is God in the beginning said, or Adam said, and God said, there should be no one above you besides you, or you and me beside me and you, or anyone above anyone else, or Eve. It's very important, but they always get out of here. I don't like this idea. Meaning, the problem rather lays in something else now. The whole Bible seems to not be correct if this promise is true. Visions must be true. And we're spiraling back down to the man of sin. He thinks everything he self says is true and therefore must prove it true, just like this irrational explanation I give right now this talk. Fourth and last revelation, I should stop now. Even if the man of sin exists in some future time frame and this video should ever get any recognition, or anything of it, it will not help at this point anymore. At this point it's done. It's man of sin, it's unhelpable. Very, very bad, my wife. Nice try to leave you alone, but that won't work. I will not let that happen. Comes with a strong premise. You need to experience suffering. For that is... we're suffering. For that is the man of sin and the beast and the chained devil, which is the man of sin but not Lucifer, are very good friends. They are sometimes even all the same person. Like an incantation. Or incarnation. Anything of invocation. So the point being is now, why is the Bible most likely true that visions don't really come from God in most cases, except for one, which is the Abraham vision, but he knows God because God showed him that he would never sacrifice his children to him unless Abraham would turn from the way and not stray. Well, that's the reason, most likely, unless Abraham lied. So why would have Abraham lied about the last vision of God? Which is which one? Did you read the Bible with me? My wife? I know it. Yeah. I'm not your teacher who grades you constantly. I'm not that type of person. You just like me, hearing me speak, and usually we do this in way more accentuation, and you say less words but more powerful ones. My religion. Yeah. This is like. He said he believes in God even to the deathbed, and God told him that it will save him. Yeah, exactly. And that was me, the last thing. Yeah, still dangerous. That was also me. Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah, it's still me. Okay. I'm rather confused. That's true. You know my mind. I know. So the big problem is that Abraham also has a different lie than this, a very different lie. He says he has multiple wives by the grace of God. God would never allow that. Whatever God did, that is not his allowance. 100% not. God said clearly to Abraham, take her into your house, but don't be her husband. And he takes her regardlessly. Yes, exactly. That's the second one. The second revelation. Abraham is the first man of sin and not the father of Israel. Who doesn't exist because everyone is God's child to a degree, at least. Or maybe even just in creative idea. Yeah, correct. And if that is true, now I can explain the rest after we morphed. So basically, if Abraham is the true first man of sin, his children will not most likely follow his idea. He's the first father of wrong knowledge, Abraham. But nonetheless, it can still happen. Besides the point, he gives his blessing out, which is unlike God. God doesn't just bless one child of Adam, he blesses all the children of Adam, every one of them, with a special talent, even if they're the same, if they are not all are, which they are the same person, not the same person. But they bless each of their children equally, just differently. Meaning, Abraham is the first man of sin also because he gives out a blessing in heritage for his son and his future wife, who is not even of his true wife, but also the concubine. He's so blinded by his arrogance that he plays the cards of Herodes and becomes, hypothetically, metaphorically, the king who slays Jesus, the true knowledge, and therefore, after hell is resurrected, it's decided already, and Jesus doesn't need to come back, because every coming back to that idea would just cause more trouble. And that's on that code. More evil, definitely. So, fourth revelation, after Jesus passing, or Passover, it's done. The rest of the Bible is bullshit. It's all visions from people who are ignorant. And the first parts of the Bible are also very messed up and bloody bad, which could be explained, but it's still rather bad, especially also the thing for the slavery, which is unlike God to say, because it's also proven with Abraham that that's not the truth. So maybe also. That was you, me after. So my wife. It's maybe that the Bible is truly the work of a fictional character who gets portrayed in the end by his own ignorance that someone else could be it. That's why this video is so dangerous. I could be it now with a lot of certainty for the man of sin. 100%. So, that's the fourth revelation. There's nothing more to say. At this point it becomes irrelevant. The best possible explanation is out there, and we will prove it with one last 2 or 3 sentences to remain. Meaning, the river of Jordan is something that dries up in the Quran, but established in the Bible. It's rather a sexual metaphor, but maybe not. Not matter for this, but you can then decide yourself if this concept holds true, if you think this far with me through this video. And if that metaphor is true, then another metaphor for sex is true in the Bible, which is not the apple, but something else, which is something very, very, very different. A very, very different idea. The wine of Jesus is not given to the people of male heritage or anyone except his wife, Mary Magdalene. It's fairly obvious, fairly obvious, very obvious. Jesus makes that wine and says, go drink from it, it's my blood. But it's not clear to whom it's directed. Everyone thinks it's directed to me, but maybe that's the first core sin, to believe someone else could die for you if you do a wrong thing. You need to deal with that and the person you harm, in my mind. The rest is then just irrelevant. But how is it obvious that it's directed to his wife, the one who's stoned, presumably? If the Bible is on metaphors, it would be fairly obvious. He doesn't turn stone into bread, but turns water into wine. He doesn't throw the first stone, but rather gives wine to her because she's his wife. Fairly obvious, but it's also in the sentences. Very clearly, drink of this wine. It's my blood was given for you. By the earth I will renew. It's basically Uranus and Gaia eternally married, not overthrown. Nonetheless, Zeus reigns, also similar concept, just without cutting off. And the third or fourth explanation, just like with the Revelations, is that he says, I will give it first to my wife and then you can drink the rest of this can. Or better said, I will first give it to her and then you will beverage these cans there, which are fundamental different ones. The ones that he gives to his wife is obvious, it's looked into. Look, this is wine. The rest is not looked at. It could be water, it could be turned into wine, but not the wine they want. Now, why do these people always follow Jesus around? This is fairly obvious if that is true. And what if the wine is actually a metaphor for sex? This is fairly obvious with Dionysus. Yeah, he's the god of gays. No, he is not. He just knows something about sexuality you don't accept. Or we come to Greek mythology, and furthermore, the wine is a sexual metaphor because it's an aphrodisiac. And who washes Jesus' feet before the wine is given to them, or the first person who is that given to? And who goes crazy at washing the feet and washes her feet? So who is the schizophrenic now? Jesus or the others? Very important question. But now we come to the point. This all looks very bad. This couldn't be true. She cannot be his wife. Something else is true. He would need to kiss her one time, at least, or something else, or marry her. What if he does marry her? What if he clearly marries his wife, Maria Magdalene, and not his mother, because he doesn't have a mother in the Bible? What if it's all there, all true? And how is that true? You would know that, but you fairly want to me to speak, no? Yeah. So why is it true that Jesus marries her? First, he washes her with oil balsam. The rest of the followers with oil. It's weird. But something else. Not just that he's always taking her aside first and then speaks to the others in weird ways. Like almost threatening them. Further even so. Something that's very important. He does marry her, especially clearly said in the Bible. He said, you are of my flesh and my bone. And he just says that to one person. Just like Adam. He makes a comparison there. He says to Maria Magdalene, you're of my flesh and my bone. Meaning you're of my spirit, but you're not me. You're in my image, and you're by my side. The same sentence Adam says to his wife. And God says to the invisible person next to him. Then there's suddenly a lot of people intervening, getting totally schizophrenic in my mind. But besides the point. Because this marriage is further re-evaluated by one action in the Bible, which is fairly unknown unless you read through it. It's page 1227 or 47 of the New Testament arrival, whatever. Not New Testament, but maybe the New Testament. Depends on which version you read and from where you read, and continue this line of thought. But from this line of thought, 1227 pages or 47. From which angle you ever want to watch it, upside down, cross, upside down, cross. It's established in the verse where he says to his followers, in the beginning I was and I will always be. And there was someone next to me that I hold dear but almost lost to sin. Now I'm happy that I recovered that person and can go my way onto the lake. And then who is in his arms on the lake? It's not them. The first one who he holds in his arms is her. Just not that obvious. It's a metaphor there. But he also says something else with the person lost. He says he almost lost that person, but recovered her or him from sin. He also means himself. He did something so unspeakable to him that he cannot undo it. He lied about something. And if you lied about something to a person, you wash that person with balsam, oil, and furthermore, let that person be devoured by sin once more to save her from there. None of the disciples gets to do that ever. They never get to sin in front of Jesus. They never get to hear not the truth. But she does. She does get to do a hypothetical sin. She gets to do something that is outside the realm of possibility. Meaning, she gets to tell not the truth. She gets to do a sin. And she gets to almost get stoned, which no disciple ever gets the chance to. She's first a disciple of him, then gets almost stoned. And Jesus just lets the whole moment happen for her to realize he will always be by her side as long as she wants it, and even could go then the free way. But furthermore, she is preparing the wine with him. She's like him. She's also a goddess. And he's a god. Meaning, goddess, the word, which we will explain before you. But besides, this should be fairly obvious now, proven, but it's not. To someone, it could still be not that obvious. So I make the last verse obvious. It's in the 1036 or 227. It's also in the number, but it's also furthermore very obvious in this description, because he said, I will wash you in your own sin. I will wash you clean from your sin by your own sin. And he doesn't say that to any other disciple, to no one whatsoever fucking ever. He always tells them the truth, but he lies to her. He always gives the wine first to her, that's the true wine, not to them. He rather says nothing about her whatsoever in any case, but let her always figure it out, but tells the disciple all the things they want to know because they need to, because they're on the down path. She's already in their knowledge. She is like him, and always was, and maybe even higher. Thank you for listening.